Strictly better, a term used for magic cards that fill the exact same use as another, but with stronger effects. This journey follows the other side. The cards that vanish into the ether. Welcome to Strictly Worse. Every color has an iconic card. We talked about reds last time in Lightning Bolt. These cards sit at the peak of efficiency, the most effect for the least mana. And for blue, that card is Ancestral Recall. At 1 blue mana, this instant simply reads draw 3 cards. And on almost every level, this card is too strong. So let's take a moment to look at just how bad Wizards of the Coast has had to make this card to be even somewhat balanced. I'm Sam Rosenberg, and today we're going to see just how bad drawing cards can truly get. To start, I'd like to take a look at the other single blue mana spells that, similar to Ancestral, also draw cards. As you'd expect, most of them are strictly worse than Recall itself. Serum Visions, in addition to being a sorcery, draws 1 card, then scries 2. Scrying is not drawing, and thus this card is strictly worse. Brainstorm draws 3 cards at instant speed, but then has the downside of putting 2 cards from your hand back onto your library. Opt scries, then draws a card, which is fundamentally worse than drawing 2 cards, and since 2 is less than 3, Opt is worse than Ancestral. But all of that was fairly obvious. Of course, most card draw spells are worse than Ancestral Recall. And that isn't the question we're here to answer. The question we want to answer is how bad is the worst draw spell? The worst Ancestral Recall? Well, to answer that, we'll have to up the mana cost. Anticipate at 1 and a blue is basically Ancestral Recall, except you only get to pick one of the 3 cards you would have drawn if you were playing Ancestral. Perilous Research costs 1 and a blue and requires the sacrifice of a permanent, and it only draws 2 cards. Altar's Reap requires that permanent to be a creature and shifts the effect into black. But from here, I'd like to make 2 branches: sorceries and instants. Because of the way instant speed draw spells combo with counter spells in blue, instant speed effects are consistently far worse than their sorcery speed alternatives. And frankly, all of them are worse than Ancestral Recall. Hieroglyphic Illumination is interesting because of its versatility. Although it does cost 4 mana to draw 2 cards at instant speed, it can be cycled to draw 1 card for a single blue. Of course, Ancestral Recall can be cycled for a single blue, but it draws 3 cards instead of 1. Versatility or no, Illumination is always worse than Ancestral Recall. Inspiration and Weave Fate do the exact same thing as Hieroglyphic Illumination, but without the added cycling option. Thus, they are strictly worse than Hieroglyphic Illumination. So let's talk about sorcery speed. Divination, and its more well-known functional reprint Council of the Soratami, reads 2 and a blue for a sorcery to draw 2 cards. This isn't great. Not horrible, and if you love blue then you'll learn to deal with it, but it's not fantastic either. And it just gets worse from here. If you want to shift the color to black with Painful Lesson, it'll cost you 2 life. But frankly, as you'll see, that's a minor price to pay. From Ixalan, the card Pirate's Prize adds 1 mana to the cost, 3 and a blue, and still only draws 2 cards at sorcery speed. Thankfully, Pirate's Prize also gives you a treasure that can be sacrificed for a mana of any color, putting you back at the equivalent cost of mana for Divination. Despite the equal mana cost, Pirate's Prize has to be played a turn later and is thus strictly worse. So here is where our lists converge. We have 3 and a blue for an instant to draw 2 cards. We have 3 and a blue that gives you back a mana to draw 2 cards at sorcery speed. So what happens if we combine them? If we recall the well-remembered set of Portal Second Age, we find something beautiful. Touch of Brilliance. 3 and a blue to draw 2 cards at sorcery speed. Divination for an extra mana. Pirate's Prize without the upside. Inspiration, but even worse. In the words of Mudbutt On in a comment posted on Gatherer, there are like 1 billion blue draw spells better than this. Yes. Yes, there are. But hey, you get to draw cards, and as any blue player knows, that's all you really need. It's just straight value. Thanks for watching. Did I leave off any truly awful draw spells? Let me know about them in the comments. If you enjoyed this content, check out our other videos on this channel and subscribe to see future updates. If not, then don't. Thanks so much for watching. Hopefully I'll see you next time.